At this time, I'm going ahead and call to order and announce that a quorum is present for the Overlay District Board. The new business here is to approve the minutes of the May 4th, 2021 Overlay District Board meeting. And if there are no corrections or additions, may I have a motion, please? Move to approve. Motion by Francis, seconded by Sheila. Please vote. Motion passes 7-0. And the next item for consideration is the consideration of 5 alternative standards associated with facade changes and landscaping for Northern Tool, located at 2428 South Stemmons Freeway, legally described as Lake Point Phase 5 Addition, Lot 4R and 5R, Block H, Zone General Business District, as requested by Robbie Killingsworth of Franz Architects on behalf of Dwayne Boris of Northern Tool, the business owner.
Good evening, Overlay Board members. So we have been working with the Northern Tool. They are proposing to occupy a new lease space a little bit farther south on I-35. It is within the I-35 core subdistrict. Based on the proposed changes they had for the facade, it would trigger compliance with most of our facade standards just for the street facing facade, and also for landscaping standards along the street and in the parking lot. They are meeting the landscaping standards along I-35. They are adding trees to the parking lot, and they are making improvements to the overall facade. But there are, and you can see there's the site plan that shows the trees being added, and previously we had up there the facade plan. So they are asking for some alternative standards because although they are making improvements that get closer to the requirements in the I-35 overlay, they are not yet meeting them. So the 5 alternative standards requested are to reduce the doors and windows on the ground floor from the required 60% to 9%, a 75% reduction. I do want to note though that they are keeping they are having a glass door, which is all that exists there today. And in addition, they are adding 2 storefront windows on either side of that door. So they are increasing the existing window space significantly. In addition, there is no brick or stone on the facade today. It is a concrete masonry unit, split face block wall. So they are adding stone and brick to create an appearance of columns that adds rhythm to the building, meeting the requirement in the I-35 overlay for some articulation. However, that amount of stone does not meet the 80% requirement. So they are asking for an alternative standard to reduce the requirement from 80% to 8%. Typically, concrete masonry units are considered masonry, but our I-35 overlay does require stone or brick. They are adding stone or brick in a logical manner to create the column features, and it does improve the overall aesthetic of the building. So staff has no objections to that. They wanted to reduce the canopy length from the required 75 to it's actually 29%, and it's a reduction of 61%. And the reason for this is because they're putting the canopies where they make logical sense over the doors and windows. So staff has no objections to that 3rd alternative request. The 4th alternative request is to allow storage of trailers on the west side of the building screened by a tubular steel fence with living screening on the west elevations, in lieu of having the storage behind the building. So the trailer area is basically on the south, and it'll be screened from the west, from the street and from the parking lot with a tubular steel fence and some living screening. They will secure the storage, but it wouldn't be practical to do screening along the entire south elevation. And so they're proposing just to screen it from the street view. This trailer storage area is below the 10% maximum that's allowed within the zoning district, and it is significantly smaller than what they have today at their current location. Overall, based on its placement and setback from the street frontage, staff has no objections to this request. And then the last alternative standard is to reduce the landscape standards for parking lots from 10 canopy trees so they required 20 canopy trees, and they're proposing 8 canopy trees and 7 ornamental trees. And this is based on the existing landscape islands that are within the parking lot and what they can fit within those islands. They are additionally adding landscaping along the front of the building to meet that code. Staff doesn't have any objections to this request, as otherwise they would have to cut in new landscape islands and run new irrigation, which we don't feel would be necessarily proportional to the level of improvements to move in a new tenant. So staff has no objection to that either, and our recommendation tonight is for approval of all 5 alternative standards. All 5 do need to go to the city council for their approval, so it would just be a recommendation tonight on all 5. Staff is here for any questions, and I believe our applicant is attending virtually for Northern Tool.
Thanks, Michelle. Is there any discussion, comments, questions?
I did. Oh, sorry. Do I request to speak?
I think you can just
Speak.
have the chair recognize.
Is there any, do you have any questions about this or discussion? that
I
you'd
just
like
had a
to-
question.
Okay.
It looked like from the review of the memo that there were a lot of concessions made when I look at the percentages, where if we were asking for 80% or if that was the standard, it was 8 or 9%. I guess just understanding how staff got comfortable with those low numbers.
Yes, so when we adopted the I-35 overlay, we did set the bar rather high, knowing that we would need alternative standards, especially in cases of redevelopment. And our goal has always been to try to be proportional to the level of investment and what changes are taking place at the site. In this case, Northern Tool could just move into the building today without making any changes or any improvements and just put up a Northern Tool sign. They did want to change the facade a little bit to have the peaked roof, which is part of their corporate logo. And so we got comfortable with it based on the quality of the existing material, which is concrete masonry unit. It is a masonry material, and the level of improvement that they went to kind of enhance the building and create rhythm and add some windows. So it was definitely a negotiation because the first iteration that they gave to us had none of the column features and it did not have the additional windows. So there was negotiation with the developer to bring forward what you see tonight.
Thank you.
Is there any more discussion or questions or anything for the developer as well? Okay, if not, then may I have a motion on this item, please? Jordan, would you state your motion, please?
I move to approve all 5 alternative standards associated with facade changes and landscaping for Northern Tool.
Okay, the motion is by Jordan and seconded by Sheila. Please vote. And the vote passes 7-0.
Thank you, board members. This will go to City Council at their July 19th meeting.
Okay. Other business for tonight is the Transportation Board will meet following this overlay district board meeting. And so we will go ahead and I will ask for a motion to adjourn the overlay board, please.
Move to adjourn.
Motion by Karen. Seconded by Alvin. Vote, please. And the overlay board is adjourned.